Good morning, good evening, and welcome to this week's Fiberific Live Craft and Chat, where we craft and chat live. It's been one of those weeks. My throat is improving from Monday for sure, but still a bit sore, still a bit raspy. I've got my hot tea, I've got the last sip of my coffee, and I've just realized I don't have a water bottle. So go me for not actually having all the hydration things ready. But it was because one of my lights was playing up. So this light over here is off because it keeps, it's pulsing. It's doing a dance, and I can't work out how to turn the dance off. So I just turned the light off. So a little bit of housekeeping to get started with. Caffeinated Crafters is on tonight. It is at Cafe 63 Beanley Marketplace. We'll be there from about 6 p.m. Come have some tea, have a coffee, hang out, bring your craft. So basically any lap-sized craft, so anything you can do sitting in a chair. The cafe itself is not super busy. So if you do have a spinning wheel, we could possibly fit you in, but probably lap-sized is better. Like, let's be honest, it is a cafe. So we have that. Now, usually this weekend would be a productivity stream. I am not having a productivity stream this weekend, just so that you are aware. So, Caffeinated Crafters is tonight. There's no productivity stream this weekend. I think that was it. I think it was just the two things. No doubt I'll remember something else through the chat. I've been using my cat stitchery bag. I love it so much. So if you want to get your hands on a cat stitchery bag for yourself, you just go to crystalcatstitchery.com. I'll pop a link in the description the later, but I forgot to add that in because I was sort of just sitting here patting it and I didn't even think to throw the link in like an idiot. Now this particular size bag is a custom bag. So if you tell her you want the same size bag that Fiberific has, then she'll know what you're talking about. Okay. And she's really good with like letting you choose fabrics and things like that. Or you can just choose one of that many beautiful bags that is just on her website. She has a whole pile of different bags, and I'm seriously looking at some of her totes with the leather straps. I like leather handles on my actual bags. I don't know why. I just do. It's a personal preference, and that's why I went with the leather wrist strap for this, because it's just what I like. If I get to choose, I'm choosing. Now the other thing that I did this week was I may have bought some yarn. So all last week I'm like, I'm going to be good and I'm not going to buy yarn. And I haven't bought any yarn except for when I was on holidays and, all those sorts of, well, that's out the window. That was so last week. Kelly, thank you so much for adding that link in for Crystal Cat Stitchery. So last week, because a couple of things happened, right? One, I have FOMO, okay? So I have FOMO. All my friends are off to Knit Fest. They're going to go and buy gorgeous and cute yarns, and then they're off to the Crochet Guild event, which again, I'm not going to. So they're going to go and get all the cute yarns, right? So I'm feeling that internally. And I wanted some cute yarn for me, okay? I did. I just wanted some cute yarn for me. And I wanted to like, let me know in the chat, is part of the experience of yarn shopping just looking at the pretty yarns? It's not necessarily about the buying, but the like, ooh, what could I make with that? It's like the possibilities that happen, like what could I make with that yarn? Or because I got an email, Knit Picks are having a sale. If one of the mods can put my Knit Picks link in the chat, that would be amazing. I'm not sure, I think it's still running, but it is a limited time only sale. And they are selling some of their it's limited colors that are at the sale prices, right? So they suck you in with like, ooh, this yarn is on sale. Oh, the sale finished yesterday. Oh man. Well, I mean, it's one of the things I bought wasn't on sale anyway. So I got some Lindy chain. Which is something I've really wanted to try. And so I managed to grab some of that. Thank you for the Knit Picks affiliate. And so I grabbed some of their some yarns that were on sale and some that were not. I did put the link over on the Fibrific Facebook page. I realized they probably didn't put it in Discord, but it was on the Fibrific Facebook page. So not the Fun Zone group, but the actual Facebook page. So, and then the other thing that I did was I may have bought some ice yarns. So they come directly from Turkey. Now, the catch with ice yarns is the postage, right? They do not do anything nice with postage. But the upside is they use FedEx. So once it's shipped, it's with you within a couple of days. Like, it is fast. So, but it is FedEx prices. So yeah, it was, I'm not going to lie, the postage was eye-watering. I actually removed things from my cart to reduce the weight to make it a little less eye-watering. It was still eye-watering, but I was also really impressed with like the prices on the yarn potential quality. I've never bought ice yarn before. I've not touched it. I don't know if I like it or not. So yeah, and it's always a little bit scary when you're, the express post or the, the faster delivery option is a third of the price of the longer option. So yeah, just when you're looking at ice yarns, just keep in mind there's no discounted rates for postage as far as I was aware. So that was a little, like what? But I did pick up enough for 2 garments, hopefully. Hopefully I've ordered the right amounts, because I've done this before where I thought I had enough for a garment, but turned out, no, I did not. So hopefully in this instance I have, and these are cotton blends. So as you know, I really prefer cotton or linen, or those sorts of blends. And that is not because I'm a snob. I'm a snob, but that's not just because I'm a snob, but it's because of where I live, right? So like I've got no problems with people making garments out of acrylic. If you buy a polyester top from the shops, it's technically an acrylic. If you like, again, I try not to buy polyester tops, but there's a lot of people out there that have no problems with polyester and have no problems wearing acrylic. I turn into a sweaty puddle. So I don't want to put all that effort and work into making something that I might wear once, realize I'm a sweaty puddle, and then never wear again. So I make sure that I am buying more natural fibers, and I do tend to lean towards the cottons, the bamboos, even viscose, because that brings the pricing down a little bit. Linens, flax, like all those sorts of natural fibers, and wool. I like wool as well. So, but in saying that, it's like I like wool and I like working with wool, but because again, subtropic location, I don't get much chance to wear it. Last week was bitterly cold up here. Today is a bit more standard Queensland winter, which is totally bearable. But yeah, so we don't really have that many opportunities unless I'm traveling, which I just don't do that much of at the moment. So I do tend to lean in towards more the cellulose fibers, but that is me, right? That's my preferences. And that's not to say your preferences are not right. They're your preferences. Knitspin Girl says, I was looking at that sale yesterday, had some things in my cart, and when the sale went poof and everything was reverted back to the regular prices. Oh, you missed it. And you were so close as well. That's so frustrating. What did I pick up? I picked up some of their sock yarns, because they were ridiculously cheap, some of the colours, and they were cute colours. And I picked up enough Lindy chain for a top. Sue Ellen says, morning all. I've been missing the lives. I've been watching the recordings the last few weeks and had to frog the sleeves of my daughter's crocheted jumper as she thought they were too baggy and I need to finish it ASAP. Yeah, look, I've not had much luck making garments for my daughter yet. And in saying that, the other week she did ask, you know, she was like, oh, you know, if I get you the photo of something, can you make it for me? And I was just like over the moon. And then she showed it to me, and it was just this beautiful, really fine knitted cardie. And it was like lace weight yarn knitting. And I'm like, oh, honey, I appreciate you thinking of me first. But in this particular instance, buy that one. I can't make it. It's too small. Like it's the stitches are so tiny. They're so tiny, and it would be the perfect weight jumper for the what we have here. But in all my yarning around that I was doing through the week, I had to do some other Amazon shopping. And you know how Amazon sometimes suggests things to you? Well, Amazon suggested something to me that I was just like, oh yeah, I'll get one of those, sure. And what it was, well, it wasn't beyond my skill set. It was just I didn't want to make it. You know, it was too tiny and a dark color, and I was like, no. But what Amazon suggested was the Lily Sugar and Cream, a cone of Lily and Sugar and Cream. Now, I'm just gonna, sorry about the crinkling noises. I am just gonna try and open this. I need some scissors. Thank you. That's a very big bag for one cone of yarn, I'll say that. Like, look at that. It could probably fit 2 or 3 cones in there. Okay, so this is a 400-gram cone of Lily and Cream worsted weight cotton. So 14 ounces, 600 meters. And, you know, the Lily and Cream cotton is, I would not consider it garment cotton, right? But what I personally love it for is face washes and face wipes and things like that. And this color was so cute. I can't remember, does it have it written on here what the color is? Potpourri. So it's called Potpourri. I'm going to see if I can, see how it's just got, like, it's mostly cream, but it's got flecks of purple and teal and blue, and, you know, it's really pretty. It's a really pretty color. And I love it for a lot of things, but I don't love the price tag of it, right? So usually I probably wouldn't buy the cone, right? Usually I probably wouldn't buy the cone. But this particular colorway for Amazon Australia for 400 grams was $20. And I was just like, well, I can't leave that there. And I thought, no, I'm going to check some of the other Australian stores because, you know, sometimes Amazon makes it seem like a deal and it's not a deal. I couldn't find it any cheaper than 33 Australian dollars anywhere else. And most of them were closer to 40. What's it stuck on here? Oh, it's little sticky goopers stuck to the yarn. Good job. There we go. I couldn't find it any cheaper than $40. Well, $33. But then the other thing to remember is you've got to pay for postage on all those. And I'm a Prime member, so I don't actually pay postage for Amazon either. So I feel a little bit of guilt around that whole thing. Just a little, though. Now, not all of the colors are $20. So when you're choosing the colors, double check the price, because some of them are $40. There was one color on one of the listings that was $70. I just about had a little conniption. This one, this potpourri, was $20, and there was a couple of others as well. I was so tempted to get more, but I was like, let's just have one, Chantelle. You may have just put in a Knit Picks order and an ice order. So just get one. But so I've got this, and I'm going to make some face washes and some face cleansing pads and all sorts of things, and the little double-sided pads for getting things out of the ovens. I don't know what that is. But yeah, so I just thought, like, I have to share with you, right? I have to share, especially for $20, right? Like 400 grams of cotton for $20. Now, and when I say it's not for garments, it's just saying that I probably wouldn't use it for garments. It doesn't mean you can't use it for garments. I just feel that it's a little underspun for garments, that's all. So, Yeah, like the little potholes. I'm thinking of the little square ones that you knit so they're double-sided and then you just seam the little diagonal seam in the middle. I'll find the pattern that I use and I'll share it with you, but I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But that was my buy. That's the one that's arrived. Knit Picks and Ice have not shipped yet, I don't believe. I mean, they might have. I should probably check that. Let me just check I'll just check my emails. Mail. Do 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 do. Let's have a look here. And no, I've just received confirmations of the orders. They have not shipped, as far as I'm aware. Could be wrong. You know, maybe I've just missed an email because that happens sometimes. Okay, so yeah, so let me know in the chat. Do you reckon 20 Australian dollars, so that's about what, 14 US dollars, is a good price for the, sorry, the sticky tape was touching the yarn, so I took it off. I've probably got some tape around. I can tape it back together. But for the sugar and cream, do you think that's a great price? Personally, I think it's a fantastic price. I'm well chuffed. But let me know in the chat, like, do you think 20 bucks for 400 grams of Lily sugar and cream is a good price? I think it is. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you, so I've got so much show and tell today. Last thing I want to show you is through the week, I got a message from a friend who wanted a quote for a baby blanket. I gave her the quote and all that sort of stuff. So that's all on that end. But you know, and quite often people don't expect the quotes to be as high as they are, and I get that. And this is not a crafter, so she had no idea how much the yarn cost. So you know, it was all good. It was all fine. It was all good. But what I wanted to say was the pattern that she sent me that she wanted, so cute. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So it's, some of you have probably seen it, but basically it's the little 5-sided, like 5 petals, and then turn it into a square. And it was such an interesting, like progression. Like the designer did so well to turn a 5-sided petal, a 5-sided flower into a 4-sided square, because squares only come in 4-sided, Chantelle. But it was just such a fun make, and even the little middles are just such a fun make. I wanted to just share that pattern with you. So I'm just going to grab that because I got the link out, but I didn't get a chance to pop it into the description. So there you go. So there's the link for that one as well, because it was so much fun to make, honestly. And then when I was getting the prices for this, I don't know if this sale's still on, so you'll have to double check. But if you're in Australia and you're a Spotlight shopper, Toot Garoot, which is their 4-ply cotton, was on sale for 5 balls for $10, I think is what it worked out to be. And so but you had to buy the 5 balls. So if you only bought 4 balls, it charged you the $5 a ball. The second you put in the 5th ball, the price dropped. So it's not just a price per ball thing. It is, you have to buy the 5 balls. But it was also, you could mix and match the colors. So as I was putting things into the cart, the price would go up, 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 and then tank. And then up, 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 and then tank. And I was able to put in, I think I had about 14 or 15 balls for about $40 Australian. I think, is that how it worked? Whatever it was a lot of yarn. And so they're the little 50-gram Toot Garoot balls. Toot Garoot is a really nice quality cotton as well. So I was very tempted to just, like, because I was going to order some cute colors to make the blanket with, but we're not doing the blanket now. But I was so tempted just to buy it anyway, but I did not. I didn't. I restrained myself. And then I went onto the Knit Picks website and restrained myself less. So Toot Garoot at Spotlight is on sale. They are having a yarn sale. I don't know how good a sale it is, but the Toot Garoot was a great price. So if you're a Toot Garoot buyer, I don't know how many times I can say Toot Garoot and keep a straight face, but I would definitely go and check to see if that sale is still on. And I was definitely logged into my account, so I don't know if it's a VIP only sale or not. I don't remember seeing VIP only on it, but it could be. So make sure you're logged in. So they're the things I spotted this week. For someone who's not been buying much yarn, I was awfully up to date with yarn prices. So yeah. But yeah, isn't that so cute, Francis? And it was such a fun make. But I did work out like doing like the pattern is a worsted weight pattern, but I wanted to do it in the 4-ply cotton because of location. A worsted weight blanket would just be too hot and just never get used. And so that meant that the squares were going to be 10 centimeters square. So to make a 1 meter by 1 meter sort of blanket, it was going to be 100 squares. And it was going to use some yarn. Like, I was going to use some yarns. I think I was going to use around, I was thinking 4 colors to rotate between for the middles and the outers. And then I think I worked out that I was going to need like 7 balls of the cream. Dolores says, hi all, I was a few minutes late, so I watched on 1.5 speed. I've now purchased 2 cones of Lily's cotton and I'm ready to settle in on some knitting. P.S. I also have been trying not to buy yarn. Dolores, isn't it so hard when it's just right there and it's only $20 for such a large amount of decent quality cotton? I couldn't leave it there. What colors did you choose? Let me know in the chat, Dolores. I'm so curious because it was so hard for me to choose. There was a really nice sort of, was it like greens and yellows that I was just like, oh, I want that one. But I didn't. I got this one. So I was trying to think of something that would look nice in my bathroom is what it boiled down to. And that greens and yellows was the wrong shade of green. But it was such a fun green anyway. I was still tempted, because not everything has to match, right? Sometimes you can just buy it because it's fun and cute. I just got to push my little footstool forward. There we go. So I'm just sitting here working on my, I've been doing a lot of crochet. So I've been working on that corner to corner blanket nearly exclusively. And I'm up to like adding on an extra stripe to it. So today I just was like, you know what? I really feel like just knitting something. So I've pulled out my Muscle Burrow hat and I'm just having a few rows on that. I may switch it up and grab something else. I've got a lot of projects around me that need work done on them, but I have left the blanket in the living room because I don't want to work on that today. I will work on that another time. Leanne says, can there be a wrong shade of green? Well, there can be if I'm trying to match it to like creams and soft like greens and olive greens and stuff like that. And it's like a bright neon green. Yeah, there can. However, it is still an adorable green. And that's why I was just like, oh, do I want it? I'm just gonna have a look. I'm just going to have a look at Amazon and just see what colors. Look, I'm just going to share the screen. Let me just make it big and we'll go to the share the screen and we'll look at the Amazon colors together, okay? All right, there we go. We'll look at the Amazon colors together. So see how they're not all $20? Like this one here, that one's $40 and this one's $40. So you've really got to keep an eye on the prices when you're purchasing. So let's have a look here. So Dolores went for the variegated blue and the red, white, and blackish. I hovered over that green too. Yeah, it's because it's cute. So this one here is Autumn Leaves Ombre. That's not available, is it? No, that one's out of stock. And then there's this one here, which is like $46. See, for me, I wouldn't spend 46. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd spend 20. This blue one was one that I was really tempted by. So there was the blue. There was this green. See, look at those greens. They're so gorgeous. They're such gorgeous greens. That one was cute, but again, the $40 price mark. And that one there I liked, but I just didn't want the red. That's really what it came down to. But this guy here, that was my winner. That was the winner for me, the potpourri. So yeah, it's there's some good colors. And if you've got any Christmas crafting coming up, there's some red, like they are really good Christmassy sort of red and greens right there. So, and a nice cream as well, but the cream I think is back up to full price. Now that is just my listing, because there was another listing on Amazon where they had the white for 20. But all the others in their listing was 40. So just have a little look around and see what you like. See, I've got that cone already, but I bought it a million years ago. So I've already got that yellow. Actually, I think, do I just have a ball of it left? I think I've just got a ball of it left. But anyway, so that's that's where we're at. It was very, very hard, but also very easy to keep that just to the one. And because I've got Amazon Prime, I don't feel the need to work up to the free postage levels or look at the postage pricing. I can just buy one and not think about the environment. My beautiful daughter thinks all shades of green are wrong. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Hey, Artsog, great to see you watching from the couch. He's working on that neckband of his dad's jumper. That's got to be nearly done, right? Is that it? Is the neckband the last thing on that one? I'm just trying to think of the order of when I do things. It depends on the pattern. Sometimes the neckband's the first thing I do. Melissa Elliott is in the chat. She says, hello, I am new. Hello, Melissa. Great to see you here. So yeah, so we're just, just relaxing and chilling. It's still tough here at the moment, just trying to get through all this stuff and do all the things, and got like stuff happening for my mom and things like that. So that's all still to come over the next few weeks, and then hopefully, it's just lots of emotions. Vanpia says he should be finished by this afternoon. That is awesome. That is so good. That has been an absolute labor of love. Melissa is a knitter, or was a knitter. I knitted. So there you go. But yeah, so right now I'm knitting. I'm making a musselburgh hat out of some beautiful hand-dyed yarn that I bought from a friend of mine who bought it from Fiber Lily. So I love Fiber Lily yarns, and this was just the perfect color for what I needed. So absolutely loving the color variegations in it, little spots of teal and things like that. So love the musselburgh hat. It's definitely one of those patterns that's worth buying. You're like, oh, it's such an easy thing, why should I buy it? But you know what? It's one of those ones where you can make, like, you using the supply, like the included charts and stuff. I just threw that straight off. Let me just try and catch that. I haven't caught the whole stitch. There we go. Let me just fix. Did I catch all of the? Yes, I did. I only dropped once. It only dropped down one level. That's good. Let me just double check that I haven't destroyed all my work. Nope, it's good. So yeah, so it's, sometimes you just come across a pattern that you're just like, you know what, this is a must buy. And it's like a staple. You can use it, like I can use it for 4-ply yarn. I can use it for worsted weight yarn. I can use it for whatever I need to use it for. Like whatever yarn I need to use to make the hat, I can use. There's no, you must use hand dyed, or you must use yarn that was shorn from sheep at the full moon, and all that sort of stuff. None of that. You can use whatever yarn you want, and that's one of the things I love about the pattern. So if you've got some DK that you need to use up, if you want a slouchy hat, if you want a skull cap, my only issue I have if you're using something like DK weight, is to remember you're making a double thickness hat. And if you have the roll up sides, it's going to be 4 thicknesses over your ears. Are you in a climate cold enough to warrant that? That's the big question. So yeah, but if you make it a bit shorter, and not allowing for a roll up, so it's just pulled over, then it's fine and it makes no difference. Like, it's not 4 thicknesses, it's just the 2. Knit Spin Girl says, love the muscle bar hat. I've made so many of them. This is my second, and I can see many more in my future over the years. I don't need to make them all now. But the other thing I love about it is it's just such a great project to have just around. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's once you've done the crown, and you've just got to knit through to the body before you start the decreases, it's just a really great travel project or mindless project, or, you know, like I think while I've got some trickier projects on the go, this is a really good sort of palette cleanser in between them. So yeah, just one of those things. But the next things I want to try and make, and I've only made sort of 1 or 2 patterns. I've done one of them a couple of times, but I want to try and make some gloves for my husband. So I bought some sock yarn in colors that he would like. And I've got to sort of sit down and do that. And that's, for me, that's fine. Like, I've got no issues with using double pointers because you need the double pointers to do the little knitted fingers. It's just a case of sitting down and doing it, really. So that'll be the next kind of project, I think. Yeah. Well, after I finish some of these others off, it'll be the next one I start if the yarn arrives in time. Otherwise, I'll just start something else. Of course, because I'm not a project monogamist. Let me know in the chat, are you a project monogamist? Are you a one project at a time person? I would love to know if you can just, I can't seem to just focus all my energy onto the one project. I switch and swap between them as my mood shifts around, and lately it's been moving around a lot more. So, oh, what have I done there? I've split a stitch, but I didn't split it there. I split it. Just trying to pick up the extra. There it is. There we go. Fixed. Yeah, so, you know, just having different projects around for the different, you know, whether you want things to be more tactile, less tactile, knit, crochet, Tunisian, like all the different things. What does your brain feel like doing? Oh, nothing, being a zombie. Okay, that's allowed too. So that's about where I'm at the moment. Let me know in the chat where you're at with your projects. And if you're working on something right now, what is that thing? What is the project in your lap right this minute while you're watching this stream or while you're watching the replay? Now, I've got Louis' bed all set up here and ready for when he decides to grace us with his present. But Abby's currently rotting in her bed, so he's with her. And so he won't leave until she does. So there's a good chance we won't get to see him today. Let's have a look here. Bianca says, I used to be, but there's been influences in my life. Really? Francis says, I'm definitely not. There's a pile next to my comfy chair, crochet, spinning wheel, knitting, drop spindle. Knit Spin Girl says, it depends on the project. If it's complicated, I've usually got something basic to make, to take out and about with me. Yeah. Leanne says, I used to be for the longest time, not anymore, and mind your own business on the whip count, okay? Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Bianca says that I'm currently making tube socks for charity. That is amazing. I love that. I love that. Dolores says mostly monogamous, but there is definitely exceptions. I have a complicated pattern on the go. I'll have a simple one also. And also things crop up big project and need to be done. Yeah, absolutely. Francis says I'm currently knitting a green handspun jumper and I'm loving how it's looking. There's something a bit special also about just knitting with handspun as well. Amel says, I am monogamous on my main project, but I always have a pair of socks on the go. For some reason, my brain just wants to call them side socks. They're your side socks. Knitspin Girl says, currently knitting socks. I know, you're all shocked. Yeah, totally shocked. That was so unexpected. Never thought it'd be socks. Vampire says, I have too many projects. I'm currently crocheting newborn mittens. That is so cool. That is so cool. I love little mittens. They're so adorable. Even big mittens. Like, I kind of wish it was like it was a mitten weather area because I think I could rock mittens. I love mittens. I think they look amazing and cute. Um, and I love that it's kind of like a proper big sleeping bag where everything's warm and toasty, but can still wiggle around freely. You know what I mean? Like I like that. And I also don't like things in between my fingers because like some of my fingers don't separate properly. So when I wear gloves, I can feel like pressure there the whole time I'm wearing it. So yeah, and that's on those two fingers on both hands. So you know, most fingers have got this big gap and that's no problem, but these ones don't. So yeah. So I prefer mittens because my hands are mutant hands. Um, Dolores says, I'm currently working on a knitted blanket. The body is simple. The outer band is cabled. Probably won't be monogamous with that. Yeah, like have little breaks. Have little breaks. I started working on a cabled headband and I got to like a point with it and I put it down and I haven't picked it back up again. I really should just pick it back up again. Um, I was really enjoying working on it. It really helped my brain just to focus on something when it was being really bad. Like my brain was just, I was not coping. And so it really helped me just to pull all my thoughts back into line. So, it kind of did that job now, but I haven't finished it. Now I want to finish it so I can wear it to remember what it did. Because it did a great thing. Definitely not a Vulcan. I can do the Vulcan thing, but I really have to think about it, and that's not the natural position. So yeah, definitely not the natural position. It also makes playing guitar a bit trickier, because my fingers want to be close together when they need to be separated out for different things. Not impossible, but definitely adds an extra level of challenge to some things. Not everything, just some things. Also, having ridiculously small hands doesn't help. Had to buy a little, 3/4 size guitar. Is it 3/4 size or half size? I don't know. It's a small guitar. It's not a full size. Um, it's bigger than a ukulele. That's all I'll tell you. It's probably got it written on it somewhere what size guitar is. It was a present to myself on my 21st birthday. I've had that guitar a long, long time. Francis says that's why I switched to ukulele, much easier than guitar. There you go. I don't know, like it'd also be easier to store because they're smaller, and they've only got 4 strings, so you only have to replace 4 strings if something goes wrong, or the time. Quite often, my strings just get replaced because they're getting sharp because I've got steel strings, so they get a bit sharp over time. And there's a flying bug, and I don't like it. Stop it, flying bug. So yeah, if you've got a project that you are working on, I highly recommend sorting yourself out, whether you get my ones that I've made here with the numbers on them. And these are designed so if you're working on a project, it gives you like double pointed needle instructions. So do this on needle 1, do this on needle 2. But you're not a double pointed needles person, you're a circulars person. You can just put these at the beginning. So where it says needle 1, I actually don't have my needle 1 on. I've just got a beginning of round 1. But say the instructions are say do this until the end of needle 4. Then you just do that to the end of needle 4. Um, definitely been useful. So have a look around for something. And like I know that you could just use different stitch markers, but sometimes I forget what each stitch marker means. So that's why I started just making the numbered ones so that it was just easier for me, like needle 1, needle 2. Very original that way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just lots of things happening this week with work stuff, which is really nice. I really like that, keeping me busy. Couple of yarn buys, which is out of the ordinary for me lately. I've been trying to be very good and just use up some of my stash. I'm trying to bring the stash down to keep it at a lower level. I may have just destroyed that with my purchases, although I didn't purchase any great amounts of anything. Well, garment quantities of stuff, but 3. So basically, I just need to make some stuff, make some garments, and then they can move from the craft room to the wardrobe. So it's like if you make the thing, you can move it out. It's like, blanket quantities of yarn. You're like, well, if you just make the blanket, then it can move into the linen cupboard. It doesn't have to stay in the craft room. So, yes. But what's really funny is I'm like, oh, I wish I could make some of these projects faster. But then I buy 4-ply yarn and want to make a top out of a 4-ply yarn. It's like, oh, well, that's going to be nice and fine and light, isn't it? Yes, it is. And then it just takes 11 billion years to get made. So I've still got my Prism. Is it Prism? I always call it Prism in my brain, but is it the Pride sweater? I don't know. But basically, the one that I'm turning into a top. I've still got that there, but I realized I got it caught on something and I pulled a stitch. I'm not sure if that's the one I pulled, but I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, that's going to be fun to fix. Maybe that was it. Maybe I've just fixed it in that time. But anyway, yeah, it got caught on something and just was being a butt. But I've also been thinking, will I wear a light blue top? So I'm second guessing that one yet again. I'm super happy with the increases. I like the neckband now. I like lots about it. But now I'm down to, after all of this, will I actually wear it? I don't know. It might be just a bit pale for me. Because that's the thing. I love this colour. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't know if the colour loves me. So let me just do this. So if I think it washes me out a little bit. So I don't know, but you guys tell me, like, does it wash me out or is it my brain just being mean to me? Saying, no, give up. Because it's all going to be all light blue, all for the top half of it, and then it starts changing colours. So, but I love this blue. It's such a pretty blue. Back to my hands. Knit Spin Girls has the lettered stitch markers. Kelly's got some really cool ones that I love the look of, which have got like, like knit front and back and stuff like that on them, like KFB, so that, when you get to a point where you've got to keep doing increases. I love those. My brain's being mean. Okay. All right. It's a bit softer than I picture your energy. Yeah, I tend to go the more brighter or darker like jewel tone colors, which is probably why my brain's a bit like, oh, that's a bit soft. Um, yeah, and there'll be more color further down. So once I've split the sleeves, I'll be doing helix knitting with the apricot and the lilac as well. Um, so yeah, there'll be more color further down. So maybe that'll actually draw that. You're right. That'll probably draw away from how pale the blue is as well. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll stop. I'll just keep working on it. I'll get it. I'll get it made. I'll get it made. Because I've got lots of things in lots of silvers and greys, which I love, which is probably my favorite color to make clothes in. Oh, Louis is. Are you going to put Louis' camera? Can I put Louis' camera on yet? Hang on a second. It's just taking a minute. There it is. All right. There he is. You can. Oh, hello, Louis. Hello, Smoochy man. Just throw him in. Yoink. He's like, oh, okay. I live here now. Oh dear. Hello, Louis. What are you doing? It'll be really nice and fresh, and it'll be brilliant for summer. Yeah, I think it'll be perfect for summer. It'll be so light and soft. Absolutely, that's the goal. That's the goal. Louis had a haircut just as all that really cold weather was hitting, and so he has not been a fan of letting us change his pajamas or getting him out of his pajamas. To be honest, like he'll let us change him, but he won't let us get him out of them, like unless he sees the other ones right there. He gets a bit funny about it and tries to steal them. So he's not coping. He just because I mean his fur is very thick, and he went from being probably a little bit too hot because of the weather plus how much fluff he had, and now he's just a cold boy, aren't you, Lou? Hey, he's just a cold boy. He doesn't care. He's got his blankets. So Louis has stolen those blankets. Oh, Abby's stealing one back. Oh, okay. He looks all sad now. He's like, oh, sad dog. Oh, he hated that, Abby. Oh, that was the worst. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Louis the dog has just been living in his pajamas and under blankets. I've got so many photos of him over the last week of him just asleep in the lounge room on his little dog bed, but under the blanket rather than on top of it. So yeah, he's just been a bit chilly, but it has definitely gotten a lot warmer here this week than last week was, which is nice because last week was just unexpected, unexpected. So yeah, and the sun's actually is enough to warm things up through the day. So we just put the heating on for like an hour in the morning to take the chill out, and then after that we don't need it anymore. And we probably could do without it if we were patient. But if I'm getting out of bed at 7 in the morning and I can see my own breath, that's a no. That's a no. You should not be able to see your own breath in your house. So, if you go out into the yard, that's one thing. But if you're inside, you should not be able to be a smoky dragon. Holly, it's good to see you. So yeah, so I've been, trying to keep an eye on all the sales and bargains and share with you when I spot them. But that Amazon Prime cotton was just ridiculous because most things, like I'll be honest, most Amazon yarn in Australia is not a good price. Like you look at it and it's just like, they want $20 for a ball of line brand Kobu or whatever it's called, which I'm very curious about and I'd love to try, but not at that price. Like, there is yarn that I would spend $20 a ball on, and it's not It's not an acrylic cotton blend. So now my brain's like, is Kobu an acrylic cotton blend? Let me just check. Lion brand Kobu. Yeah, like, and I can buy it from Craft Online for $10 a ball. Like, not that I'd spend $10 a ball on it either. It might be a cotton bamboo blend. Let me look here. It's a bamboo, cotton, and rayon. Oh no, sorry. It's 51% cotton and 49% rayon from bamboo. They shouldn't be able to go bamboo, cotton, rayon. They need to go cotton and then bamboo rayon or rayon from bamboo. They need to make that clear on the branding. Let me just check to see if the label on the actual yarn says cotton and rayon. But, you know, like $10 for cotton and rayon is still, so it's, let me just look here. It's a DK weight, 212 meters for 100. Oh, it's a 100-gram ball. Nah. I still want to try it. Like, that's the thing. It's one of those ones that I want to try, you know. Sandy Dandy Adams is here. It's good to see you, Sandy. Yeah, there's a few that, you know, that I'm curious to try. I just don't like that once the prices are converted to Australian and then shipped here prices. Those prices aren't my friend. That's not my, like, I want to try it. I don't want to try it that badly. Does that make sense? Like, does anyone have a yarn like that they've been curious about that they've never had a chance to actually try, but then they're not actually curious enough to actually want to go and spend whatever the money is to get it to them? Here in Australia, we have really limited yarn available to us, especially like some of the stuff that you guys can just pick up anywhere in the US. If we can find it here, like I remember the first time I saw Lion brand kitchen cotton, because every now and again, Spotlight, our local big box store, every now and again, it'll choose like a brand each season, like for each winter, and it'll do like a Lion brand year, and but it doesn't have the whole range. It just has a couple of handfuls. Well, when they brought the Lion brand cotton here, it would have been about 10 years ago that I think I'm talking around that sort of time, 10 to 15 years ago. The Lion brand cotton came to Australia, and then it was $15.99 per ball, like 10 years ago. And I just remember thinking, like touching it and thinking, wow, I really wanted to make something with that. Like I'd heard so many good things about using it for, you know, making pot holders and stuff like that. But I wasn't willing to spend that sort of money. And it seemed like a lot of Australians declined. And then when Spotlight had their big end of winter sale on, I managed to grab like a couple of different colors for like $2 a ball. So I was just like, I'll have those. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think they've gotten the cotton back in, because that would have been a serious loss. Oh, geez Louise, that's outrageous. Yeah, like it was absolutely, I was just like, because I was looking at the prices in the US and I was just like, well, like that's not even just an exchange rate issue. That's crazy talk. So yeah, so even when Spotlight brings in the Lion brand yarns, I still am like, do I want to spend that kind of money for that? So I remember I got some homespun, and I'm just not sure if I like homespun, like the Lion brand homespun. There's just something about how it feels. I don't know what it is. It wasn't for me. Let's just go with that. It's not for me. Leanne says it's pretty much our only big box store. Our link craft is closed. Yeah, we've only got Spotlight around us as a big box craft store. There's no real yarn stores local to me here, as far as I'm aware, other than Cozy Cloud, but they don't make any yarn that I use. I don't make like that. All the stuff that they seem to get in is all big and chunky, like chenilles and stuff. And so that's not really my jam. So I think the nearest yarn store to me that I've been to, there might be others, is probably the Yarn Bowl, which is a beautiful store. It's a beautiful store. It's a little independent craft store or yarn store, and they get some gorgeous stuff in. And their store is just so nice. Holly says a lot of people don't like the homespun. Oh, see, I just assumed it might have been a me thing because so many people were like, homespun is fantastic. Um, Holly says, but I will say I like the Kobu. Am I saying it right? Kobu? The Kobu is super soft. It looks beautiful. It really does. It looks lovely. And it looks like it has a really nice range of colors too. So, um, yeah, let me just look at all the pretty colors here. Oh, wait, there's an Australian store that's selling it. Let me go to the Lion Brand store. They'll have all the colors. Mitspin Girl says the closest yarn store to me other than Spotlight is Hours driveway. It's probably the same one as what I've got. Yeah, they've got some lovely colors in the Kobu. Sandy says Kobu works up nicely, but it's splitty. Have you tried using a different kind of hook? I found that I know someone like the first review. Nice feel, but splits easily. Oh wow, people are making so many garments with it. It looks gorgeous. But yeah, no, the thing I found is some of the different types of hooks that I have, some split yarns more than others. Sometimes the yarn is just so softly spun that it just splits, which I think that's the thing. There's some Americans that call it hellspun. Okay. Oh, and I'm saying it right. Okay, that's good too. Leanne says she has plushy yarns. So this is the local store here in Beenleigh. She has plushy yarns, though she is always bringing in new lines all the time. I did notice that she announced some new yarns, but they were still yarns I wouldn't use. But I keep an eye on. I actually haven't been in there. I should probably go in, but I haven't. Just because I don't make, it's sometimes there's stores around that are awesome and you want them to exist, but they're not for you, if that makes sense. And I think that's how I feel about that one. Holly says it is splitty, but the drape is nice. Yeah, like I'm willing to put up with some stuff as long as I'm making a nice top out of fibers that I like. Francis says I recently bought some black wattle yarn. It's an alpaca merino nylon blend. It was 50% off at the New South Wales Spinners Guild shop. Oh my gosh, you couldn't leave it there for that sort of price. 50% off. I can't use the alpaca, but I can also appreciate the alpaca. So, yeah. Let me just mute here for just 1 second. Oh, my little bag fell down. You know, am I the only one who sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this project. I'm going to put it in this bag. And then you make the mistake of starting the yarn from the outside instead of the inside. And so, it gets caught on your bag or whatever. Is that just me? Just me? Like for things like this, I normally go from the inside of the ball because then the ball can just sit nicely. But for whatever reason, there was none. I've gone from the outside of the ball. So that's a little frustrating. Molly, it's good to see you. Welcome to the chat. We've just been talking about some yarn sales and some ridiculously cheap cotton that I picked up from Amazon. What else? Just, life of a crafter stuff, really. You know the drill, Molly. We talk about all sorts of things here. There we go. And I've let my family know that they have to fend for themselves for dinner tonight because I'm at Cafe 63 with Caffeinated Crafters. I actually went there for breakfast yesterday, so I just live there now. I just live there. There we go. There we go. All righty. Yay. Bianca says I also get my knits. Also, when my knits get caught on my earrings or my handbag. Yeah, look. I don't wear earrings anymore. I used to, but I don't. I don't really. I actually like. I went to wear some the other week and realized. I think when my ear holes is closed up, I'm gonna have to go and I have to make the decision. Do I go and get it re-pierced or do I just accept that it's gone? And I'm thinking I'm just going to accept that it's gone. I just don't wear jewelry enough to warrant going through all that again. So yeah, I'm glad I missed all that yarn stuff. I have too much ready for projects. Thinking of selling some off. Look, I'm all for like I know sometimes, and this might just be me. Let me know in the chat if it's you as well. But sometimes when we purchase yarns, we have all these grand plans, right? But then they marinate in the stash for so long that our tastes change. And it's no longer yarn that you're in love with. It could be the color, it could be the texture, it could be the composition, whatever it is. And it's just, you just don't love it anymore. I think that we should not feel any kind of guilt about selling it and moving on or donating it or whatever. Getting it out of our space. I'm just going to come here, little ball. There we go. There should be no guilt over accepting that our tastes change over time and that we should be able to destash it and sell it and move on. I think the whole, oh my gosh, why are you getting rid of that? Like, I think it should be a question of, are you sure you want to get rid of it? And then if you're sure, yes, please, I'll buy that off you. Do you know what I mean? Because just because it's a color or something that you don't like doesn't mean that it's not someone else's absolute favorite. Sometimes I look at some of the yarn and go, what was I thinking? Look, when I very first started my yarn journey, I may have gone a little bit hard in some sales and then never ever used the yarn, like never, and ended up and it was like novelty style yarns, like not necessarily just Muppet Murder, but just unusual things that were just not suited to anything that I wanted to make or anybody that I knew for that matter. So some of those yarns went to charity because I just needed the space back. I needed to deal with it and move on. And sometimes we just have to accept that that's what we need to do. Yeah, he hasn't moved. Yeah, I'm just going to tilt his camera up a bit because all we've got is his little head poking out. Like Abby put the blanket on him and he basically snuggled in and that's it. Like if he was overheating, he would not be under the blanket. Yeah, and because he's down on the floor as well, the floor's quite cold. Oh, feather yarns. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Sandy says, I'm buying for retirement. Prices are just going to go up and up. And that's a thing to remember as well. Like, while you're working and things like that, if you want to get like the new set of knitting needles or the spinning wheel or whatever it is, there's nothing, these things don't expire. Do you know what I mean? Like these are things that you can buy now and put away until you're ready to use them. I remember I put away a drum carder because I wasn't using it very much. My husband was like, you should just sell it. And I'm like, no, honey. When I bought that drum carder, I think I bought it for like $400 Australian. And then now to buy that same drum carder, you're looking at 1,000 Australian dollars. And he was just like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm serious. Like, I may not have time for processing the stuff that I was processing before, but I will do again and I'll keep it safe and I will use that thing later. So yeah. Leanne says, I donated 8 hanks of yarn to our biggest morning tea fundraiser and I feel good about it. That is awesome. I love that. Especially considering it's like a yarn friendly group. It's perfect. That's a perfect way. Yarn doesn't go off and you don't have to feed it and it covers areas in my house I would otherwise have to dust. I love that. I love that a lot. Yeah. For me, it's more about just utilizing the space that I have. And if it's still yarn that I like, I'm not getting rid of it. But if it is yarn that I no longer like and I can't see me liking again in the future, then it's going to be rehoned. But I'm pretty happy with everything in my stash now. I went through it a couple of years ago and just went gone. And I did a big de-stash post on Facebook and sold a whole pile of stuff and then whatever was left, I donated to charity because I was like, I already decided I didn't want it. So I waited and I sold most of it, and then all the leftover bits went to like it was a local Vinnie's. Yeah, I think it was a Vinnie's. But anyway, one of the local big charities. I just sort of left it for it, put it in the donation bin. Molly says that's exactly what I've done, but in all honesty, I do have so much I'll never get through it in my lifetime. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like there is the Sable, which is stash acquisition beyond life expectancy. It's weird that there is a word for it, right? Sable. And but also like right now you're working, right? Or at least I'm assuming a lot of us are working. Right now we're working and we have less craft time. Down the track, situations change and we'll have a lot more craft time. And so you may move through that stash faster later. It's like a petrol tank. It takes forever to get through the first half, but that second half just gone. Yeah, Molly says I still see stuff I want. Me too, Molly. Me too. I have to be very good with myself and just be like, okay, Chantelle, calm the farm and back it up. Yeah, well, Knitspin Girl's right. At least it's useful. Some people collect rocks and seashells. Yeah, they do. They just sit there and you can't do anything with them. They look pretty and they love them, and that's fine. Oh, dropped a stitch. Hang on. Can I reclaim it? I think I did. I just double check. I got all the bits. Yes, I got it. Yay. Woot. Gotta love it when we have success in the stitch dropping scenario. Now, I love this color so much. I'm tossing up my original plan was to put some plain purple with it, which I've got this gorgeous plain purple that Leanne sold me or traded with me, which I've still got the trade here, Leanne, sorry. Which is a superwash merino and nylon. And I'm tossing up whether or not to do like the curl up band. Do you know what I mean? With that. And then, or the other option is do a curl up band with some like teal, which I don't have here, but it's out in a crate. But basically think Moran, which is my dark version of Lake, which is match the teal spots here. And I was thinking of doing. Oh, Louis just walked off and he's taken his blanket with him. He's literally walking out the door like it's a big saddle blanket. Off he goes. That's hilarious. So I'm thinking of doing this section, then the middle section in teal, and then the inside. So when you turn it inside out, you've actually got 2 separate hats, both with teal roll-ups. I do love teal. Like, I just put that right out there. I love teal. So for me, that I should just go and grab a skein of it so I can show it to you, shouldn't I? I'm just trying to think, do I even have any of it in a mini handy? that I have. Let's have a look at my little mini stash. Look, it's this color teal that's in there, but that's the teal and the grey together. Did he get all the way out there with the blanket? He's made it all the way to the living room with his blanket on. So it is this sort of, it's a similar color teal to that. Without the grey, there's no grey. Should I just go and get it? Because it's also darker. This is not quite as dark. I'm going to go and get it. So you guys, let me know if I should use the teal. I'm going to go and get the teal, and then you can decide. You can look at this. I'm actually going to leave it on screen, like this. I'll be back in a second. Wedding veil. All right, let me know. Yes, 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 please. It is the Musselburgh hat, that's right. Bye, Leanne, have fun. All right. Here is the teal that I have. I don't think the screen's doing it any justice. So, yeah, let me just... It's bluing it out by the looks. Oh, here we go. The big camera does it better. Alrighty. So this camera is not giving you the right color, but what I'm going to do is this one. So that's closer to the real color. There we go. What do you think? I'll go back down to the hand shot, just even though it's doing us no favors when it comes to the colors. I am just going to turn off the Louis cam. So what do you so what I'm thinking is 8 inches of, no, is it 6 or 8? 6 and 6 is 12. No, it's 8 inches of this color. Bye, Abby. Have a good day at work. Then 4 inches, is it 4 or 6? 6 inches of this color, and then 8 inches of this color. And so that means that this hat, when you get the brim, you've got a brim of this color with this one, but you also have this color brim with this one. So when you turn the hat inside out, you actually get 2 colored hats. So oh, okay. Everyone likes that plan. Gorgeous, gorgeous. That's nice. Yes. Gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Love all 3 together. Love those colors. Okay. Well then, that plan is that, because that's been the idea, and I've just kept meaning to go and get this one out of the storage, but I went and got it today. So they can sit together until they get, we could turn those into balls today if we like, so that I can have all the project ready to go. So you guys like that color combo? because I like, for me, this teal is very similar to the teal in here. Do it. Okay, thanks, Kelly. So yeah, it's very similar to the speckles of teal that's already in here. So yeah. And I've got my ball winder just handy. Actually, I don't have a Swift handy, so we can't ball wind them today. So good plan. It's a good plan. Awesome. That is so cool. Thank you, guys. And that's the thing. Like, I've got stash in here, but I also have a little storage of stash elsewhere. Just a couple of crates with some yarn in it. Nothing too worrisome. Nothing too, like, in here. I'm more concerned about what's in here than anywhere else, because the space that I have in here is limited, and I've realized that I'm just sort of storing bags of projects and stuff on the floor behind me, and I only have, maybe, is it a meter even? I don't even, between the desk and the chest of drawers behind me. So the rolling around chair has to fit within 44 inches or 110 centimeters. And then there's the chair, and so I don't have that far to roll back in the chair. So, and then having things on the floor, albeit in crates and bags and boxes and what have you, it's just, there's just no room there for it. So I've been really trying to use up some stuff just so that I can reorganize the storage. And I really thought when I made that tide pool top, I thought that would get rid of a couple of the cones of yarn, but it didn't even put a dent in it. Just like, oh man, really? I could make like 3 more tide pool tops and still not put a dent in it. Oh dear. Anyway, let me know. What is the big space taker in your stash? Is it like sock yarn or minis, or, you know, a blanket quantities of acrylic? Like let me know what takes all the stash space in your yarn stash area. Because, like, while yes, we all have different yarn storage and yarn stash spaces, we do know what's taking up the majority of that space. I've even heard of people who's sitting down and ready for it, who only buy the yarn they need for the project they're currently working on, and they have no stash. And then when they finish that project, they get rid of the leftover yarn because they don't keep it. Even if there's like whole balls, they're just like, nope, that project's finished. Move it all on. Like, I can understand getting rid of like little bits and pieces, but like, what? What? For Bianca, it's a sock weight yarn. For John, it's the blanket qualities of the Red Heart and Icelandic wools. Yep. Francis, for her, it's the 5 times 1 kilo bags of spinning fibers. Yep. Vampire says it's the blanket quantities of the 8 ply. Holly says Aran weight acrylic yarn takes up most of the space. For Knit Spin Girls, it's sock yarn and jumper quantities of DK. Yeah, see, we all know what it is that's taking up the space in our storage. And it is usually the stuff we want to make, right? Like John, I know you like making blankets. And so, you know, yeah, I might be wrong. And Bianca, I know you like working with the finer weight yarns. So, although for some reason in my brain, I thought it would be the lace weights for you, honestly, but sock weight it is. I'm not at all surprised with Knit Spin Girls. Sorry, Samantha. That one doesn't surprise me. And Vampire, I had no idea what you'd have in your stash. You make such varying things that I just sort of couldn't pick it. John says 8 balls of sock 8 I'll never use. And my W sticks. What are W sticks? Is it a brand of something? I'll have to look. I'll have to have a look. I can hear Louis, but I can't see him. He'll be all sad. He went out to the land room to sit with Abby and she's gone. Molly says it's Bendigo Woolen Mill cotton and other luxury and some sock yarn. Bianca says sock yarn takes up more space than the lace weight. But if we're to calculate the meterage, yes, I get it. I get it. Which also explains why like large quantities of like worsted weight yarns for blankets would take up so much space. The sheer size of the larger balls. That would do it. For me, mine's majority 4-ply, but what takes up the most space is the coned yarns that I used to have from when I was more machine knitting. So like a lot of it's very fine coned yarns, like 3 strands together will make a 4-ply ish thickness, and I've got like a huge amount of space being taken up with coned yarn, and maybe it's not the most space, but it's the most space of something I'm just not using. So maybe I should just pass it on, move it out, claim that space back. Um, the sad thing is all these socks I'm knitting is coming from my friend's stash, not mine. Oh, that is kind of sad. Like all this work you're doing and you're not even sort of getting through your stash. But in saying that, it's also paid work. So that's also a win. Oh, are you coming back, big man? Where's your your green blanket? You've lost it. It's gone. Francis says, I've also got older stash of spotlight yarn that I'll never use now that I've experienced nicer quality yarns. Francis, that was a couple of years ago. That's when I went through my stash and just got rid of a pile of stuff as when I had that realization. I say a couple of years ago. It was probably more like 5 to 10 years ago. Where you just realize now that you understand yarn more, you will never use it. And so I just put up Facebook posts and destashed it. Lots of people, especially because I was buying like entire 10 packs of things, at least I knew to buy what I was buying in enough quantity for someone to be able to make something with it. So I was selling like, entire 10 packs of there's what are you doing with my ball winder? Hey, you big cutie? You're gonna come and sit on your bed? I'll turn your camera back on. Everyone can see how cute you are. He's using the force on me. I can feel his like thoughts trying to like, but I don't know what it is he wants. Actually, I've got a fair idea, but I can't say it out loud because he'll be disappointed. Sandy says, I envy those people that have the discipline of buying for the project. I'm hopeless. I have enough yarn to make sweaters and cardigans. The type that consumes the most space is the bulky weights. Yeah, Francis says, yeah, I need to get rid of it. Yeah, look, it helped I don't know about your brain, but it helped my brain just to get rid of the yarns that I knew I was never going to use. Whereas I'm down to the yarns I love. I just have too many of them. Well, I don't have too many of them. I need to reorganize my space. Oh, that's so fun, isn't it? Like, oh yeah, they're fine. I don't need any more. I mean, I don't need to get rid of any. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, when your throat is sore and it's like hot sore in spots? That's where I'm at. Oh, hello, cutie. You've got no blanket on top of you now because you took it. You took it out to the lounge. You did. Sad face. John says I moved some boxes in a spare room and found more yarn. Oh my gosh. Oh. I think I've probably got a crate's worth of yarn in here, just tucked in spots. that I could probably untuck to make things feel a bit more open again. But I'm focusing on finishing some projects because all the project bags are just lined up on the floor. Um, when I buy for a specific project, I tend to overbuy so I won't run short, and I sometimes have enough to make two of them. Yeah, I've definitely. I fall into both categories where I don't buy enough to make the project, and then can't buy it again because it's discontinued or whatever by the time I get around to it. Or B, I overbuy for the project. I don't seem to be able to go anywhere in the middle. I don't really understand why I can't. Um, but if I'm going to err, I'd rather err on the side of enough to at least make the damn thing. So I've tried to move into that realm now. Because it was very frustrating. There was a few years there, like some of you are around for, I'd start projects and start making blankets or something, and then get to a certain point and realize, yeah, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to get it finished, and then go hunting for people who destashing yarns from 10 years ago. And sometimes you have success, and sometimes you don't have success. So all I can say is I'm really glad Bendigo's brought back spring cotton because I really enjoyed that for blankets. It feels amazing as a blanket. Um, so if you want to go and try that, that's what I made the spin your granny blanket out of, was out of spring cotton. Don't know if they've still got the same colors, but it was just a lovely yarn to use and work with. I have a local charity shop that specializes in craft supplies. I was thinking of doing a clean out and taking it all to them. Ah, that sounds fantastic. That sounds perfect. We've got one here as well. The sewing lair. I haven't been in. I don't know if they have if they want like knitting and crochet stuff, or if they just want or if they just want sewing stuff, which I understand because they're called the sewing lair. John says, I buy because I like the colors and I want to make something, or I overbuy so I don't run out. I should take all the random colorways and make a king sized random color queen. Absolutely. Like that would be awesome. That really would. And it would be so warm. And John, you need the warm. You need the warm. Um, I bought these lightweight wire frame plastic storage solutions with doors from Temu. I'm calling them yarn condos. I'm in the process of building them. They work out very well. For me, I like to, I've realized I like my stuff, my yarns to be like where they can't get dusty. So I like for like, a crate with a lid or something like that, because it's very dusty here. And I know not everywhere has the same issues, but it's just ridiculous. Like, I'm not kidding. I can wipe the TV down, and 2 days later, it looks like no one's wiped the TV down for 6 months. It's just like there's just so much dust in the air, like to the point where I'm seriously contemplating, um, like filters and like plants and stuff inside just to help with the quality of the air. And I don't live in a city smoggy kind of space. It's just dust. Um, and it's yeah, and I'm not good with dust. So when I wipe everything down, I have to use a damp cloth because if I lift it, I have a very high dust allergy. So I've got to be really careful if I decide to move dust, if I've had all my medications and everything like that, to make it so I don't react, or I react as little as possible. I think that's a dumb allergy, by the way, being allergic to dust. I think it's so stupid and annoying, and it's frustrating because you can't control how much dust is in your environment unless you live in a hermetically sealed house, which I do not. Um, the dusty outback. Well, and that's the thing, John. I'm not super close to the outback. Um, I'm within, how far would I be from the coast? Like, as the crow flies, I'd be within an hour from the coastline. Probably less. Sandy says we're having the same problem with all the forests burning with the soot in the air. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I actually think that's worse. I think that's totally worse. And my brain would be on hyperdrive. When I can smell smoke, my brain just goes mental. Oh, you just met your car. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Oh geez, John. That is gold actually, that one. That's gold. It's good to see you, by the way. It's been a bit. It's been a bit. Um, but yeah, just working out, like, our tastes change with yarn. It really does. And just working out what we currently love, and would I fall back in love with something? Maybe. So maybe don't get rid of that one. But there's other things where you're like, no, I hate it with a passion. I used it. I hate it. I don't want to ever touch it again. Get those things out of your stash. Somebody else will love it. I'm between two major roads, far enough that I don't hear them, but still the dust is bad. Yeah, and I'm not too far from a couple of major roads myself, to be honest. And that could be it. It really could be. But yeah, it's a lot. It's just a lot, and I don't go well with it. And I do like to have my doors and windows open for fresh air. What size needles are you using for your hat? Oh, I think these are 2.5 mils, 2.5s. I'll double check in a second. I'm a loose knitter, so I have to drop down a little bit to get, the gauge and stuff that I want. So I think my last one I did it on 3s or 3.25s, and it's fine, but I just wanted something a little slightly tighter weave. So that's why I've done this. My husband loves it. He wears it a lot actually. And I don't know if it's just because it's blue and he's a blue supporter. But he actually he wears it when he goes for his morning walks, and is planning on taking it to the snow when him and Abby go to the snow later in the year. And so, which is not that far off now. We're halfway through June. And so they're off in the early August. So, now let me just double check. I'll check my Ravelry because I put it in there. Projects, and this is, did I not put it in? Surely I did. I could have sworn I did. I thought I had to learn how to do, like, how to use it. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, one thing, I'm in Ravelry. I've realized I haven't put the finished marker on my unicorn skirt, and it's finished. So I don't even remember when I finished that. When did I finish that? It was at the end of the month. So it was May. Let me think. I had it finished in time for Caffeinated Crafters. So that is finished. All right. So that is save changes. But don't dub on me to Kelly. Oh, Bianca. Jeez. Hang on. I'll grab a stitch gauge. Like a needle gauge. There's one right here. Let's have a look. It only goes to 275. It's definitely smaller than 275. This one goes to 2.5. It definitely fits through the 2.5. I've got this one here. Does it go small enough? There might be 2.25s. I was wondering when Chantelle would use the photo I took of the skirt for her Ravelry project pic. What photo of what skirt? I didn't even, hang on. Did I don't know. Oh, there it is. These are 2.25s. I thought I was using 2.5s for some reason, but these are 2.25s. Kelly, where would I find such photo of the skirt that you so that one's finished. That one I've decided to kill, so I'm going to edit that task. So there was these socks called the easiest socks in the world, but I'm gonna frog them. Oh, you sent it to me in the mod chat. Let me have a look here. Let me look. Oh, yep, another one, another one. Yeah, yep. No, I forgot that was there. I'll go and add that in. But I took some other photos and I've added those. So that one's done. Alrighty. Okay, yeah, no, I definitely don't have this project in Ravelry. Whoops. All right. Let's have a look here. Hey Tony. Dobbing on me to Kelly. I'm gonna have to add it in. I really thought it was there for some reason, and I don't know why it's not there. But anyway, we'll get it added in. And it's 2.25 needles, so I won't need to go through and find that out again. I don't know. I don't know why I'm using such fine needles then. I thought I was using 2.5s, honestly. Because I think the 3 mil for the 4-ply sock yarn's about normal to get, because you don't want it too tight. You don't want it like socks tight, right? But you do want it, you know, not saggy and baggy either. You want it to hold its shape. So, but like while I'm like, oh, I must be using too tight, I'm actually really happy with how the stitches look. So yeah. Tony says, can I ask you a yarn question? Of course you can. Drop it in the chat. I may not be able to answer it, but somebody else in the chat might be able to. So yeah. We all like yarn here. Yarn's good. So yeah. Knitspin Girl says I use 2.5 mils for socks. I tend to use either 2s or 2.25s for socks, but again, it's because I'm a loose knitter, so I tend to drop down a couple of needle sizes to get the tension that I want. Also, with socks, I need, like, especially socks for myself. My feet change, and so I need them to be able to stretch with my feet so that I don't get to times in the day where my feet, get a little bit swollen, that I'm having the circulation cut off because my socks are too tight. I need my socks to go with my feet. And I think that's one of the big advantages of making our own socks. We can make these decisions for ourselves. We can decide, okay, I need a narrower heel, so I can reduce the stitches down for the heel, or I need a wider cuff. I can have my wider cuff. I need my stitches a little softer because I need it to be a little more stretchy. Like, you can think of all these things. Sue Ellen's asking, what did people use the mini hanks for? Are they 50 meters? Which mini hanks are you talking about? Like, because there's lots of different uses for mini skeins. So if you're doing color work and stuff like that, some mini skeins are really good for that. Tony says, what is the difference between the DK in the UK and the US? I've had both, and the UK yarn is way different. Okay, so, and this is not going to be a popular thing, all right, Tony? In my opinion, I think the US labeling of their yarns is too broad. Usually is in Australia and the UK, a DK weight yarn is usually around 100 meters per 50 grams. It's obviously going to change a little bit depending on the composition. And our worsted weights are a bit thicker, right? So that for us, they're Aran weights or 10 plies. But in saying that, these titles, these DK worsted, they're all quite broad ranged, and you really you can't just substitute DK for DK. You need to look at the meterage, the composition of the yarn, the kind of ply that is done. Because when you're substituting a yarn out from what the designer or what it is that you're looking for out for something else, there's more that goes into it than just the 3 that the US put onto it. Because a 3 in the US can go anywhere from a light DK all the way up to a light worsted. It's such a broad range. So I personally think that's what it is. And I also think that America needs to understand the rest of the world don't use that. So when they put in their, if someone's asking for a number 4 weight yarn, there's a lot of people who have to go and Google what on earth is a 4 weight yarn. They've got no idea. And in Australia, worsted weight's not our standard weight yarn. We don't get much in the way of a worsted weight yarn unless we import it from the USA. Most of our yarn is DK weight. So yeah, it's just different countries. But you really do need to look into more when you're looking at replacing a yarn than just the fact that it's a DK or a worsted or whatever the broad group is. You need to look into how many meters or how many yards per 50 grams or ounces or whatever it is that you want to compare it to do it like that. Like Kelly's saying here, wraps per inch is the best way to find the weight. But using the wraps per inch, you do need to make sure you're not pulling. You have to do it specific way. You can't pull it tightly because it changes the density of the yarn. But yeah, it's not you, Tony. It's not you. It's the yarn. But yeah, no worries. And I'm glad we could help. Sandy says, I agree with you. The yarn weight scale in the US, it is ridiculous. Holly says, there is a shawl pattern that I want to make that uses 100-gram hank of yarn and 1 mini. I love making socks, but sometimes I want to make something different with sock sets. Oh, absolutely. Sock sets are fantastic for shawls. Yeah, and Kelly says that the yarn weight thing is really tricky. Oh, it is. It's so tricky. And it's especially with yarn, it's so well loved internationally, right? It's so well loved more internationally that we have to think of it from a worldwide scale, considering that there's a lot of yarns made in Turkey and Eastern Europe and the UK and and all these yarns are coming from all these different places. So yeah, we have to use our brains a little bit. Tony says the US is way more stretchy. I suppose it depends on how it's spun. It could be stretchier. Oh, I've got that burny spot in my throat. On Monday, I could barely talk through it. Today, I can talk through it, but I'm not enjoying it. Oh, and Scandinavian yarns as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. So many places make beautiful yarns. We shouldn't limit ourselves, unless we need to financially. And, but just be more so to be open to the variations. If the possibility arises. So, I'm very curious to see some of this ice yarn I've got coming. That's coming directly from Turkey, so that will be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah. But right now I'm using some Australian hand-dyed 100% Australian merino, which is kind of funny. Like, let's be open to the world, but I'm going to be using Australian merino dyed by an Australian dyer. Actually, all three of these have been dyed by Australian dyers. This one is Fibre Lily. This one is Green Tea Yarns, and this one was back when I was dyeing. So, you know, that's a fiberific yarn right there. I miss dyeing. I really do. I miss dyeing yarn, I should say. My husband just bought me 2 packets from Ophelia, and it's just different. Yeah. Maybe find a different pattern for it. Maybe have a look and see if that particular yarn line has a pattern that you like to try out. You know, the other thing is sometimes just to murky the water up some more, you can buy the exact same yarn in like just a different color, and it can feel totally different. Some of your deeper colors like reds and blacks, they require a lot more dye to get them to the colors, and it can change how it feels. And this is wools, acrylics, whatever. They can, depending on the color, it can also change how it feels. You could have like exactly the same yarn company, exactly the same yarn base, but then have them in different colors, and they could feel different. For sure. Oh yeah, Game Winners, I love this. Comparing yarn is a bit like comparing apples. Granny Smith's and Red Delicious are both apples, but they are very different. Yeah. Yep. So it's just, it's the part of the fun of being a yarny person. This is part of the fun. And it's like, how the USA have a different crochet language than the rest of the world. But if we want to use the USA patterns, we all have to learn it. So, it's just how it is. There's two distinct crochet languages. Francis says that's why black jeans are always a tighter fit. Possibly. Holly says if you're happy with your ice order, if they have it, you should try the Mona Lisa cotton yarn. It's nice and soft. I'll have to try it. Maybe. What did I order? I ordered it's a linen cotton blend. Vislin. I don't know what I ordered. But it was this linen cotton blend of something. So we'll see how that goes. John's in the chat. Love it, John. But yeah, it's just, we're all from different parts of the world, and we all have different yarns that we get used to. And yeah, it's just different. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. That's why I love the conversations here. We learn all about yarn, not just weights, but the spin, the fibers, etc. Oh, absolutely. And that's a really important thing to remember is construction of your yarn plays such a massive factor in the outcome of your project. And understanding the yarn construction can make or break something is so important. Have a great day, Holly. It was great to see you jumping in. But yeah, it's just, the yarns are different. The yarns are different. And you need to find the yarn for the project that you want. Like for me, obsessed with chainette yarns, right? Can I find them everywhere? The answer is no. When I find them, do I buy ridiculous amounts of them? Yes. Yes, I do. And why do I love a chainette yarn? That is because I get the nice chunky look of a thicker yarn. And the ease and the speed, and that I get to make something in like a DK or a worsted weight. And yet it's as light to wear as something made out of 4-ply, because the chainette makes it more open and airy and less dense than if I was to use a 4-ply, to use an 8-ply or a worsted weight, like a DK or a worsted weight. That's why I'm obsessed with chain knit yarns, because I want to be slack and lazy and use fat yarn because I will get things finished faster. But I also want it to be wearable and thin and light. And I live in the subtropics, and a DK or a worst weight jumper. Like, do you guys remember that beautiful Hohi Locatelli sweater that I made, the V-neck one? I still haven't worn it. It's not been cold enough to wear it. I probably could have worn it last week, except the problem being I made it shorter sleeved, thinking, oh, I'll wear it more if it's got shorter sleeves because I always push my sleeves up. Last week, the body of it would have been warm enough, but it was so cold I needed the sleeves too. So I'm seriously contemplating finding the extra balls of yarn, because there's some extra balls, and undoing the cuffs and going all the way down so that if it's cold, I can just wear it. So I haven't done it yet. I'm still contemplating, and I would have to find the rest of the yarn. It's around. I think I had about 4 or 5 balls left. But I could go in and just extend the sleeves out a bit and just, you know, make it so that when it is cold, I can actually wear it, because it was cold, but I wanted long sleeves and it didn't have long sleeves. So I don't know. Yeah, Bianca, I think that's the best thing I can do. I think it's the best thing I can do. I don't think as is I can wear it. I think it's just a bit too dense, a bit too heavy. I also think I made it when I was like a size smaller. So right now, I wouldn't wear it. I'd stretch it out a little bit. So I need to size back down again. I've definitely gotten a few rows on this, and I'm so glad that you guys I went out and got that, because now everything's together. Like, I knew where it was, I just had to go and grab it and bring it in. I should wind those balls this afternoon so that all the balls are there and ready to go, because I'm not too far off needing to start the other color. Let me grab a tape measure. Just pull this in just so it's a bit safe, so I don't pop the stitches off. Has anybody accidentally pulled the knitting needles right out of their project as they were trying to measure or do something else, and just like yoink the stitches just straight up the needles? You just sort of stand there looking at it like, yeah, me either. No, I've done it a ton of times. It's ridiculous. We're measuring inches for this, so yeah, like I'm already up to nearly 6 inches, and I only want to do 8 in this color. So yeah, I'm nearly ready to change over to the teal. No, but it makes me anxious every time. I've definitely done it, especially when I'm working with like DPNs, or if I'm doing magic loop. Magic loop just stresses me out. My friend Jen Homewood, she's got a slightly different way she does magic loop, and it's, you still use the long needles and you still bend it around, and it doesn't work as well with smaller diameter stuff, but with the big diameter stuff on a magic loop, when your loop's too long, you can actually just coil it around and just knit from one off to the other. That did not help you if you want to do it, but it's how I do the magic loop on big things now, because it's just so much less stressful. I just looked at my world map. Sandy says, I just looked at my world map and I didn't realize how close to the equator Australia truly is. I thought it was more towards Antarctica. Parts of Australia are much closer to Antarctica, like Tasmania is, but I'm in Brisbane, so I'm much closer to the what's that line? Is it the Tropic of Capricorn? I can't remember. Anyway, I'm subtropical here in Brisbane. We're technically subtropical. Sue Ellen says, work is calling, got a scoot, great to catch the live day. It was so good to see. Oh, it is the Tropic of Capricorn? Okay, cool. But yeah, so I'm definitely subtropics here in Brisbane. So yeah. Whereas down in Tasmania, they're much closer to Antarctica than I am here in Brisbane. So yes, it is quite it's we get quite warm here and humid. Warm and humid. Like we get humid winters. Although is it just me or has this one been a bit dry? Like I've been feeling everything's just a bit dry. Um but yeah, like we'll have a summer's day temperature of say 35, 34, 35 degrees, which sounds fine for a summer's day. But then you add into that it's over 90% humidity and you're just like, I am literally walking through hot soup. Um, so yeah, I don't know what is 34 or 35 in the Fahrenheits. That's the other thing. Is America the only country in the world that uses Fahrenheit? I think it's America and like one other country. What is 34 in 34C to F? Boom is 93. So 93 is a 34 is not ridiculously hot. Yes, we get up to 40. Um I don't think Rockhampton 8 hours away. I don't think it is. Maybe I'm thinking of Bundaberg. Anyway, but yeah, the like 34 sounds perfectly reasonable. But yeah, it's just it's add in that humidity. Just add it in. Sandy says, so you're about south of the equator as my mum lives north in West Palm Beach. So yeah, it's warm here. It's warm here. And like I complain about, being cold, right, in our winters, and then you tell people the temperature and they're like, man, that's not cold. And they're like, dude, compared to what I'm used to, it's cold, man. It's cold. So, and I actually love watching like people who come from like Canada who come to Australia and then complain about how cold our winters are and trying to explain, that Australia for some reason has opted we do personal heating rather than making sure our houses are warm. Which I have this conversation with my husband all the time and he's like, I don't know why you complain so much about it. And I'm like, Australian building standards are just dodge. Like, I'm not kidding. It's just like dodge. It's just dodge. We don't do double glazed or anything glass. We have single pane glass and we, like it'll be like there are times in winter where it's warmer outside than it is inside our house. Like how stupid is that? Gabby says it's 94 in Miami today. Oh, there you go. What is my temperature right now? Let me just check. It's actually not too bad right now, whatever it is. Let me see. So right now we are sitting at 20 degrees C, feels like 18. So I always go by the feels like because I believe the feels like better because so it's currently 64.4 US. Mel says it was funny when we were living in Darwin when all the locals were in tracksuits and sweaters and we were in shorts and t-shirts. Yeah. Bianca says that we used to build for the heat, but that's not happening anymore either. Yeah, like what are we building for? Our houses don't keep the heat out, like not properly, and they also don't keep the warmth in or the cold out. Like what are we building for? I do not know. Francis says there's actually a huge discussion happening around our building standards to improve this. We need to because we just pay a fortune in heating and cooling every year because our houses can't cope with either. And neither can we. Like, well, I can't. You might be able to. I can't. I'm a big baby. Vampire says that at her place, it's currently 15, feels like 12. So 12 is 53 Fahrenheiters. The Fahrenheitises. So yeah. So, and that's the thing. Like, we just, our house, like, people get around in hoodies and have extra blankets on their beds and wear slippers and stuff like that because You know, you don't walk into someone's house in winter and go, oh, it's so much warmer in here. No, you don't. You walk into someone's house and keep your coat on. You don't take it off. RM Crochet, hello, welcome. Oh, good night. I don't know where you're coming, like if you're coming or going, but great to see you in the chat. Mel says that it's just checked and it's 10 and feels like 4 for her. So let me see what 4 is. That's 39 Fahrenheiters. So yeah, because it is winter here in Australia. And our winters may not get as cold as your winters. Where I am, we don't get snow. You have to go down to one of the southern states to get snow. So although there was snow only a few hours away last week with that really awful weather that we had for like a week. Mel says, no wonder I'm cold. Yeah, Mel. Yeah, no wonder you're cold. And that was the kind of the temperatures that we were getting here last week. And it was so weird because we don't get that cold. Like this, what we're getting today is a bit more of a standard winter's day where the temperature does, like, especially on like clear sky days, the temperature plummets overnight. It'll get down to like 3 or 4 degrees overnight, right? But then the second the sun comes up and everything starts heating up, we'll get a 20-degree day. Like, so, you know, but if there's clouds around, the temperature drops overnight, but like it doesn't build back up through the day because the clouds block all the warmth. Gabby says August is when it gets really hot. See, August is our, like here in Brisbane, that's where we get a lot of like this the wind and the cold in the wind. But we're starting to warm up at the same time. And Tracy S says Fahrenheit or bananas. I don't know. I don't know. Freaky Geek has made it into the chat. So good to see you, Freaky. Ugg boots, yeah. Francis says, I was thinking of getting a thermostat for the wall so I can see how cold it is inside. Like, it's definitely worth getting at least a little temperature gauge just to get an idea. I think it's important for us to know so that we don't think we're going insane, or at least for me. Like, am I going insane or is it really just this cold? Because I've got a knee that really, really aches in the cold, and sometimes I'll be thinking it's not that cold. Like, why is it hurting and being such a butt face? And then you look at the temperature and you're like, okay, yeah, that could be it. That could be it. It's legit cold. So yeah, you know, it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. Well, my friends, we have spoken of a lot of things today. Yarn sales and ridiculously good pricing on entire cones of Lily sugar and cream for $20 in Australia. That you just need to stop now. That's noisy and I don't like it. The Lily and sugar and cream was $20. And like there's a link. If I put it in the description, I think I've put it in the description. But it was definitely in the chat earlier. But like, this is Australia. Like, we don't get this yarn for $20. Everywhere else I've got is it's 40. Like, it's a starting price, $39.40 plus postage. So getting it from Amazon for 20. Only limited colors. Not every color is 20. So make sure you double check. Sandy says sugar and concrete. I really like this for hot pads for the kitchen. And I love it for face washes in the bathroom. I don't much use it for garments and things like that. I don't think it's a top grade quality cotton or anything like that, but super useful. And also, it's one of the few worsted weight cottons around. We don't get thick cotton in Australia. Bendigo Woolen Mills try to tell you it's 10-ply. It's sorry, not 10-ply. All right. Wool in a cone, will it melt like ice cream? No, it will not. No, it will not. Also, I have I ordered some stuff in the Knit Pick sale, which finished yesterday, unfortunately. But keep an eye out; they have sales all the time. And I've picked up something from Ice Yarns to try out. So the postage was ridiculous. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the postage was Like, I took stuff out of the thing to try and lower the postage down. But yeah, it was like a third of the cost is postage. But in saying that, they use FedEx. So, it's courier costs rather than postage costs. But the other option for for the fast postage, it was one price. But for another, for the other option, the slower option, it was actually 3 times the price of the fast postage. I'm like, guess which one I'm having? Greenland Quilter, welcome to the chat. From South Greenland. Wow. We've got lots of people from all over the shop today. It's so good to see. We are winding up, finishing off. Now, for those of you that weren't here at the start, the housekeeping is that Caffeinated Crafters is on tonight at Cafe 63 at Beanley Marketplace here in Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. So if you are local, feel free to come around. And then also there is no productivity stream this weekend. So unfortunately, I've got some other stuff that I need to do, and go from there. But otherwise, we'll be back here next week. So we start about 2 hours ago. So if you want to join us again next week, so same bat time, same bat station. We started about so it's midday here for me. So we start at 10 a.m. Would love to have you in the chat there. But Greenland Quilters asking, what type of fiber do you work with? For me personally, I use a lot of wool and cotton. And a bit of bamboo if I can get my hands on it. But like right now, my current project is I'm making a muscle burra hat, and it's using 4-ply wool merino nylon mix. So we've got the 3 different colors that we are making that with. But yeah, it just depends on what I'm making. So I try to be open-minded about that. Freaky says 8 p.m. in Canada. Oh, there you go, Freaky. Thank you. So you all have an awesome week. I'll see some of you tonight. Otherwise, I'll see you all back here next week. Bring your craft and your cuppers. Sit back. We'll just craft and chat because that's what we do. So we will see you all later. Bye now.